Moving!
Check out what I think of Batman Arkham Origins. John has a look at the top 10 free-to-play games. We interview Love Shack Entertainment about Framed in Homegrown. And Vince versus Pinball. Hello and welcome to Worldwide Gaming. I'm your host Ryan.
I'm Liz.
And I'm John.
John, I really like your top 10 list. It's the free-to-play games. Even just like seeing some of them, like the RuneScape, is a bit of a trip back in memory lane.
It is a bit of a nostalgia trip, especially for me. It takes me back to my childhood, like in primary school and stuff like that, where everybody would just play RuneScape and that's it. It's a good list, not as microtransaction-y as I thought it would be with free-to-play games.
All right, first we've got to kick it off with the forecast, though.
Return to Tamriel with your friends, revisit bleak, frozen Skyrim or sun-baked Hammerfell amongst others with the upcoming release of The Elder Scrolls Online.
Never
Long-range
have our
forecasts are
choices
inconclusive,
weighed
but this
more
game's set to go either way.
To stand alone, or to fight side by side against the encroaching forces of oblivion.
Delson will be setting fire to the rain as we look forward to infamous Second Son releasing on March 21 for PlayStation 4. Long-range forecasts are still a bit fuzzy, and it could almost go either way.
You do realize when we hit the town, there's a fair chance the town's gonna, head back?
Get ready for some more crazy finger-straining action with Bayonetta 2, this time releasing exclusively for Wii U. We're not all that excited about this one, barely tipping the scale at -2.
Now the forecast. It's nice to see a PlayStation 4 exclusive, infamous Second Son, on there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really good. I like how they've kind of just not gone down the path of, oh, we've actually wrapped up. Oh, no, we haven't. They make up some really weird excuse for bringing back the main character. They've just gone, no, we really like the universe. Let's look at something else within that universe. And so we've got a whole new character, a whole new town, whole new set of powers. He sets fire to things as opposed to electrocuting people.
It's expanding.
It's totally different.
Yeah, I know. It's
the next
completely
one will
different.
be Heart.
Funnily enough, though, like all of the abilities, based on the trailer, all of the abilities seem to be the same, like in terms of flying and then, riding rails and stuff like that, except instead of it being electricity, it's fire.
We haven't seen much of Elder Scrolls Online lately, but
It's going to be amazing, though. Let's just not beat around the bush. It's going to be great.
Why?
Because it's Elder Scrolls Online, and I'll be really good at it. So.
And then lastly, it was Bayonetta 2, which is still a Wii U exclusive, unfortunately. Did you guys play Bayonetta 1?
Not at all. It was one of those ones that I just went, I'm going to play other games.
Yeah, long story short, I'm really sad that it's only a Nintendo property now. But now it's time for my review of Batman Arkham Origins.
Capitalist!
The Arkham series holds a very special place in gamers' hearts. Not only was the first game, Arkham Asylum, one of the very few good superhero games, but it was actually one of the best games of 2009. Riding high on the wave of success, Rocksteady Games released Arkham City, which let you run around in an open Gotham City fighting crime. Now the baton is being passed to Warner Bros. Montreal, and although they haven't capitalized on the chance to put a new spin on the game, it's still a superhero game that all others should look up to.
Yeah, tell them to keep their eyes open next time.
Must you be so brutal, sir? These are city employees.
They're as corrupt as they come, and they're in my way.
Arkham Origins takes place before the events of the first game in the series, Arkham Asylum. It starts out on Christmas Eve with Black Mask putting a bounty of $50 million on the head of Batman, which gets the attention of 8 deadly assassins, including the likes of Bane, Copperhead, and Firefly.
That's him! That bad guy!
Being an origin story, it's kinda cool to see how this universe's Batman came to be. Many of the thugs and villains don't actually know that Batman exists, and thinks he's an urban legend, which can make for some hilarious situations when you drop from the sky into the middle of a group of thugs. There is a large payoff in terms of story and lore for people who have stuck with the Arkham franchise. Even though you know what happens in those games, the way that Arkham Origins tells its story will have you guessing what will happen next.
This is stuff.
Gameplay-wise, Arkham Origins remains much unchanged from the previous games. The free-flowing combat is still satisfying and challenging, and it's still fun to use gadgets during combat to get that extra edge. Just about the only new component to the fighting is the use of the shock gloves, which you obtain in the story a couple of hours in. After charging them in combat through building combos, you can activate them to dish out massive damage and get through enemies' defenses without breaking a sweat.
How many more must perish before you realize? Savior, you're a curse upon this city. A plague on all of Gotham. Leave us alone! We were better off without you. I'd still be alone without you. Please.
Fighting the assassins is some of the best and humorous parts of Arkham Origins, 2 of which are actually side missions which you can avoid altogether. However, there is one fight in particular that shares a resemblance to one of the most iconic fights in Arkham Asylum, which is kinda disappointing.
Is that the best you can do?
Enigma, aka the Riddler, is also back to give you a bunch of collectibles, although you can unlock fast travel locations from them to save you travelling across the world.
You're cheating, aren't you? You're getting help from someone! But who? Who's smart enough to outsmart me?
No one's helping me, Enigma. Did you ever consider maybe you're not as clever as you think?
It's really hard to rate Batman Arkham Origins. On one hand, it's part of one of the best superhero series of this console generation. Yet on the other, it feels too similar to the previous games. If you haven't played much or any of the series, then this game is great for you. If you have played the previous games, then I would only check this out if you really want to experience the story. Otherwise, give it a miss.
If they won't act, I will! At dawn's first light, the sources of Gotham's ruin will be destroyed! Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming of propaganda and consumerist garbage.
As if there isn't enough going on tonight.
So that was my review of Batman Arkham Origins. Guys, I know you haven't played it, but what do you think of it from the review?
Looks exactly like the other 2 games.
Yeah, I second that.
It really is, which is weird. But I found it kind of odd that he has some gadgets that you don't get in the later games or the later games in the series. It's kind of weird. He must have just dropped them somewhere and can't remember where he put it or something.
He's getting old. He's getting old. He can't remember where he
He's getting
puts
on,
some
poor
of his stuff.
Batsy.
But it is cool to see some of the stories that we've seen in those 2 games and the origin of it. I love how no one knows who Batman is. It just makes for awesome scenarios and stuff.
That's pretty interesting, actually, yeah.
But now it's time for the break. Stay tuned because we have Top 10.